G'day guys and girls, welcome back to SideQuest Gaming, where we take a look at both old games and new to try and uncover some of those little hidden gems you might want to give a crack and try out for yourself. Today we're doing our weekly wrap-up of all the games we've looked at throughout the week. So, to start us off, Warhammer 40,000 Battlesector. Warhammer 40,000 Battlesector was a turn-based strategy game where you command the Blood Angels in a gritty battle for survival against the Tyranid Swarm. Set in the 41st millennium, you lead iconic Space Marine units across grid-based maps using positioning, unit synergy, and Overwatch tactics to win battles. Visually, it's sharp, stylized, not cutting edge, but the units are detailed, animations are slick. It definitely has a signature 40k flair, and the audio is heavy and dramatic. The combat is satisfying, each unit has unique abilities, and there's a momentum system that rewards aggressive play. However, the story is a little less compelling. Definitely think there could be a bit more work done in that area. Definitely worth having a bit of a look at if you are deeply into the lore. However, I would say it feels a bit niche and you really want to keep an eye on it for deep discounts or sales if you want to pick this one up. Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor, Martyr. So, I think kind of Diablo meets grimdark sci-fi. You play as an Inquisitor, purging heresy across broken warships and corrupted planets. This is an action RPG. You know, all the things that normally go with that. You shoot, slice, and explode your way through demons, traitors, and chaos-spawn nightmares. The game nails the Warhammer aesthetic. Definitely got the gothic architecture, blood-soaked battlefields, UI that looks like it kind of matches the whole feel and vibe of the setting, and dense, moody, and oppressive in terms of the soundtrack, the music, really killing it on the sound design. There's depth to the mechanics and the development. There's multiple classes, skill trees, gear, loadouts, cover-based system, even though I didn't really use it when I was playing through it so far, and definitely had a fair bit of satisfying combat feel. The thing that really intrigued me the most was the variety and the versatility in that if you chose a different character, you actually had a complete different starting world and location, and I thought that was quite intriguing. So definitely worth having a look at, especially if it's on sale. Kind of scratches that itch of the action RPG feel in a Warhammer 40k world. The Pedestrian. The Pedestrian is a really cool little minimalist platformer, and I found the aesthetic absolutely gorgeous. So you guide your little stick figure dude through a whole bunch of different beautifully crafted cityscapes and signage, and you rearrange both the signs and the order in the world to be able to kind of navigate this space. And I think it's quite a unique take on a puzzle platformer, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Foregrounds are minimalistic, backgrounds are fully rendered 3D urban life. Tells a wordless story, and the transition between the levels is seamless and stylish. Soundtrack is chill as hell, it's very calming, it's very satisfying, it's very clean aesthetic. Mechanics, it's just a really enjoyable and smooth game. You draw paths between panels to connect the different areas to move between them, and it ramps up difficulty in a satisfyingly smooth way. Certainly made me feel like an idiot, but in a way that's quite enjoyable to kind of navigate. It's a short game, but it's absolutely worth picking up at a lower price point, and if you're into kind of these chill puzzlers, definitely one to keep an eye on. LONESTAR. LONESTAR is a minimalist space roguelike where you pilot a ship through procedurally generated galaxy, a la FTL, that kind of thing, upgrading your systems, making choices, and dodging death at every corner. I really enjoy this game. I like this game a lot. Don't go into it with too much of an FTL vibe in your head, even though it looks quite similar in many ways. It's got more of a dice-based mathematical mechanic to it. And if you watch my video, you will see what I mean by that. You essentially manage your dice and resources to power different modules in your ship in a turn-based kind of battler as you move throughout the galaxy. It's less about the story, more about the fun puzzle element of trying to solve, inverted commas, the enemy ships. The art is clean and sharp, and the kind of cowboy western aesthetic, kind of Firefly meets FTL, is really cool, really peaceful. The gameplay is satisfying. It is one of those fantastic games to kind of have on a second monitor or in the background while you're watching something. and it's got a huge amount of replayability, both with difficult curves going up and the different characters that you can unlock and play as that have different effects on the run that you'll be moving through. Very tight, very clean little package, absolutely worth picking up. Rogue Waters. Rogue Waters is a colourful naval roguelite that blends ship combat, resource gathering and permadeath progression, all wrapped in a kind of cartoon pirate world, and it's got like a really cool mechanic around controlling space and pushing enemies around the map and kind of pushing them off edges, things like that. Very similar to Into the Breach in a way. The pirate aesthetic is quite fun. The story's a bit silly, but it suits it. The aesthetics are cartoony and vibrant, and they're really quite consistent in terms of how they run through it. And it's got the normal sort of roguelike node-based progression system. Combat is fun. It's quite snappy and quick, so usually you move through the turns in quite a speedy order, and the ship combat is simple but serves its purpose well, and it's enjoyable having essentially your dual upgrade tier of upgrading your ship's progression and upgrading your individual hero units, which drive the combat. Having your mates as kind of like disposable characters in a turn-based game is quite a satisfying process too, because it allows you to kind of set up more risky plays and kind of risky, I guess, combat maneuvers, which isn't normally seen in games like XCOM. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. It has a fair bit of replayability, but it does wear thin after a while. Anyway, that's been the weekly wrap-up. This has been SideQuest Gaming. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. If any of those games sound like they would intrigue you, please see the links below. That will take you to my first impressions videos on them. And as always, have an amazing day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.